Welcome everyone. We thank you for your time today. My name is Kyle and you have joined Spectrum Group on our journey to accelerating ITSM with Atlassian Jira Service Management. We also have Kevin Maguire and David Gardner from Spectrum Group joining us for today's presentation. To give you an idea around the agenda and timelines for today's webinar, we will start with a brief introduction around Spectrum Group, followed by the demonstration, then a short Q&A session for those that might have queries. Spectrum Group is a distinguished Atlassian Platinum Solution Partner with a wealth of knowledge around the Atlassian technology suite. Spectrum offer a catalog of services and solutions to cater to a wide range of requirements around the Atlassian product range. Some of these include digital, consulting, and Atlassian-based solutions. Spectrum Group was founded by two Atlassian experts in 2011 and has grown from strength to strength since inception. Now, to help build, maintain, and support your environment. Spectrum also develop a multitude of in-house applications available on the Atlassian marketplace and have shown company growth of up to 50% annually. With over 250 customer projects, application lifecycle management engagements, and missions, we have the expertise to help you grow your organization. Spectrum's technical resource teams span a wide range of certifications, giving you peace of mind around the Atlassian ecosystem. Customers from all over the world trust Spectrum with their Atlassian estate and rely on the consultancy services and functionality Spectrum Marketplace Labs offer, including over 500 service and application customers worldwide. Spectrum Group have offices in 6 locations, giving you the ability to have on-site as well as remote assistance throughout your engagement. Without further ado, I would like to introduce to you our Atlassian Certified Master, David Gardner, who will be presenting the platform demonstration today. A little bit about David. David is an Atlassian expert that holds 6 Atlassian certifications, including the Atlassian Certified Master's Badge. He specializes in assisting businesses with the use of their Atlassian toolset and the integration of them into their business processes. He has worked with many clients across multiple industries in different countries. David has 20 years of previous experience in technology, focusing on software development, strategy, project management, and business analysis. Some notable to mention are investment banking and financial market industries. As a last note, before we proceed with the demonstration, this webinar will be available for download and will also be uploaded to our Spectrum YouTube channel. Over to you, Dave.
Thank you, Carl. I'll just share my screen first. And hello, welcome everybody. Very looking forward to talking to you about Jira Service Management and ITSM today. Just wanted to check, Carl, can you see the screen okay? Okay, great. So today I'll be talking about Jira to accelerate your ITSM journey, and be talking quite a bit about Jira Service Management as well as other related products. So a bit about what I will be discussing today is the agenda. I'll be doing an introduction on what Jira Service Management is, and then moving on to some of the core Jira Service Management ITSM ITIL and operations capabilities. And then focusing a bit on integrations of Jira Service Management with other Atlassian products as well. And then moving on to more how Jira Service Management can be integrated with other Atlassian tools to create that full end-to-end operations and support with Atlassian from change incident to request management. And then moving on to some best practices and recommendations or tips to bring team agility and collaboration into ITSM processes within your organization. So firstly, an introduction to Jira Service Management. It's formerly known as Jira Service Desk, and Jira Service Management, with over 25,000 customers globally, empowers teams with adaptable practices, an open platform, and streamlined workflows that bring dev and ops together. You can deliver value fast by tuning Jira Service Management to meet your unique needs, empower every team from IT to HR to legal to set up a service desk quickly and continuously adapt at scale. Deliver great service experiences fast without the complexity of traditional ITSM solutions. You can make your work more visible by tracking across the enterprise through an open collaborative platform, link issues across Jira, and ingest data from other software development tools. So your IT support and operations team can have a richer contextual information to rapidly respond to all requests. And more downstream processes where you can connect dev and ops, deliver more customer impact while managing risk, accelerate critical development work, eliminate toil, and deploy changes with ease, with a complete audit trail for every change. So now I'll move more into the actual live product itself and look at the core features. And as I move through today's session, I will be navigating between this presentation layer, which is coming straight from Confluence, but to the actual product itself, Jira Service Management, but also looking at Jira Software, Confluence, and the actual customer-facing service management portal as well. I'll also be talking a bit more about exactly what Jira and Confluence are, in case that happens to be new to you. So just moving over to the actual product itself. So when you go to a Jira Service Management, you will most likely see a screen that looks a bit like this, especially if you're involved with triaging requests coming into your service management layer. This is the queue of all open tickets, which are currently in play within this service management instance. And so you can see there's a few sample requests in here, like Okta not working, there's a Windows 10 requests, I've got a problem, that kind of thing coming in. And you might notice a bit off to the right here, it's actually running a service level agreement, and I'll be talking a bit more about how they can work later on. But as well as the queues, you can actually drill down into the individual service requests here, the incidents here, and the problems here, as well as the changes. So these four areas, service requests, incidents, problems, and changes, are strongly aligned with ITIL compliance in ITSM solutions. So just a bit more about exactly what's going on here. So queues, customer requests are organized into queues. Queues let you quickly view, triage, and assign requests. There's no limit to the number of queues you can have. You can have different, what are known as service desk agents, monitoring and managing the queues. And then you can then drill down into the individual requests. The requests themselves are more about what IT teams specifically do. And they're more generic requests, commonly known as service requests, and they can be general questions through to providing access to systems and those sort of requests, whereas incidents are responses to critical issues before they impact your business. So anyone familiar with systems would be familiar with incidents. And then problems are problem Problem management aims to reduce the impact of incidents that are caused by problems with IT infrastructure and prevent the incidents from happening again. And then finally, changes with effective service projects, plan and control changes and understand their impact. So going back to the product itself, you can actually start to look at the service requests here and just look at the open service requests. And there are 3 of them. Whereas if I go back to the incidents and look at the open incidents, there's 2 of those at the moment. Then the problems, there's just 1 open problem within this instance at the moment. And then these are the planned changes here. There's a list of those here as well. Teams can quite quickly drill down into the various core areas here to monitor the queues to see what's actually being actively worked on. And then just a bit more on these core areas here. Anyone that was familiar with Jira Service Desk before it changed to service management, these areas around queues, service requests, incidents, problems and changes have always been part of the product. Whereas the operations side here, which you're seeing here, is a relatively new introduction to the product, and would typically come from using a ITSM project template. So when you create a Jira Service Management project within Jira Service Management, then you can choose a template to have it based on, and if you choose the ITSM template, then you have access to these features here in operations. So a bit about what the operations features are about. So you've got a change calendar, which shows a calendar view of all planned changes. Services, you can set up and configure services, and services can be viewed as kind of systems or applications within your layer, within your organization, and then alerts can be individually raised if you integrate with Opsgenie. So some of these features are only available if you integrate with another Atlassian product called Opsgenie, and I'll be talking a bit more about Opsgenie later on. But you can set up alerts here, and then there's an on-call schedule as well, so you can see the individuals that can be on call. So let's take a look at these. First, the change calendar here. You can see some planned changes. So it's Thursday, the 24th of June. You can see that there is a change from 7:30 in the morning to 11:45. On Saturday, there are 2 changes here, planned within certain time windows, and then there's one on the Sunday. The exclamation mark here is indicating that there's an open incident with that particular service. So these changes are associated with a service. That service also has an associated incident. So this calendar here is telling you that your planned change has an open incident that's being worked on at the moment. These are the services themselves, so there's just 3 of them in this demo site: antivirus, general ledger, and Okta. When you create a service, they can be configured with a name, a tier, a team, responders. So I've set up a basic team here, which just has myself, Kevin, and Kyle in it. You can also select the change approvers as well, which can be a group of users. And if it's connected to something like Bitbucket, you can see the repository that this service is related to. And then on the alerts side in here, we're now inside the product Opsgenie, and you can view the alerts within Jira Service Management, but they're actually raised inside Opsgenie. And you can raise individual alerts and give it a message, a priority, but the responders, and then the responders would receive the alert, and the idea is that they're supposed to acknowledge and respond to these alerts. then moving on to a bit more about the richer ecosystem. So integrations of Atlassian Jira Service Management with other products. This is a particularly strong area, so although Jira Service Management can provide significant benefits to your organization on its own, the power of Atlassian is really when it's integrated with other products to provide a rich ecosystem, providing end-to-end flows, processes, traceability, and reporting. Here are some of the major integrations that can help you build this rich ecosystem. So there's Jira Software, Jira Work Management, Confluence, Ops Genie, and Status Page. So we've already mentioned Ops Genie. Jira Software, I will give a brief introduction to that next, and Jira Work Management is another version of that, and Confluence. And for those that are familiar with these products, then they work very well with Jira Service Management. So what is Jira Software? So Jira was the first product to be released by Atlassian in 2002 and continues to be Atlassian's flagship product. Some more details on what it is. So it's an issue tracking, ticketing, and planning tool. That's all the work items would reside inside different projects. So I've already mentioned the word project in Jira Service Management. So you have a Jira Service Management project where all the requests go. In Jira Software, it's a similar concept where what's called issues go in there. So inside Jira, the word issue is used, but it's really the item of work or the to-do item, or it can be more fine-grained and it can be an individual, specifically a change or some sort of incident. But you can think of issues inside Jira as just items that need to be worked on. But one of its powerful features is its customizable workflows, agile boards, and custom fields. Also has a powerful search engine with reporting and dashboards. Has advanced security and permission schemes. You can easily import data into it. And it has itself, like all the other products, has a strong integration layer with the other products, like back to service management. And one of the most powerful aspects, especially with Jira, because it's been around for such a long time, is that it has over 1,000 marketplace apps and integrations via REST APIs, so you can extend its functionality in all sorts of ways. So the Atlassian marketplace is a very powerful area to gain functionality. But Jira itself Jira Software is built over what's known as Jira Core. Jira Core is Jira Service Management is also built over Jira Core. So core functionality like issues, ticketing, customizable workflows, custom fields, the search engine, and the security and permission schemes, they are all available inside Jira Service Management as well. So they're very tightly integrated in that regard. And you could view Jira Service Management as really an extension over the top of Jira with a lot of ITSM focused features built into it. Confluence was the second major product released by Atlassian shortly after Jira, and so here are some details on what that is. So Confluence is Atlassian's content and collaboration tool used to help teams collaborate and share knowledge efficiently. In Confluence, you'll organize content using spaces, pages, blogs, which can be commented and edited by all members of the team easily thanks to collaboration features. You'll be able to display all sorts of content thanks to the rich text editor and attachments, and it can be thought of as a set of editable internet pages. So when you go to Confluence, for those that have never really used it before, you'll be presented with a page or pages in front of you. You can navigate it much like you can a website. There's a concept of a home page. Most of the pages would sit as children in a tree structure below that. You can navigate to them. If you have the correct permissions, you can edit those pages using an edit icon, and then you'll go into a word processing editor tool, which would have a lot of the similar features that you might see in something like Microsoft Word. And you can start to create documents in there, and then you can start to collaborate with other team members, because it, like all the other Atlassian tools, it has a very extensive notification scheme associated with it, so that people will get notified of their changes. So moving back to the actual individual products themselves, this is Confluence here, and this is the homepage of what's known as a knowledge base, and I'll be talking a bit more about that later. But there's dedicated pages for change management and incident management here, and they're just documentation pages. So when you hit the edit button, you can start to edit, and then you publish the change here. Jira software, which I will go to here, is your classic agile Kanban and Scrum software. So here I've got an active sprint with tickets on it, and they can be moved through the workflow as work progresses. So I'm guessing some of you are quite familiar with these processes. It also supports Kanban. And so working on agile boards like this is one of the core use cases of Jira software. Whereas Jira Service Management doesn't actually support these boards because it's all about triaging queues and managing service requests coming into your service management layer. So moving on to what the end-to-end solutions can look like. So end-to-end operations and support with Atlassian. Jira Service Management supports many different processes with the standard out-of-box templates with additional customization and integration with other Atlassian products. Just about any ITSM related business process can be facilitated. This could be across many use cases in different industries in any location. So moving more specifically onto an area like change management. In Jira Service Management, if you would like to raise a change and you use the templated project, you can use a workflow that looks like this. So you've got review, planning, authorize, awaiting implementation. But one of the nice aspects of this particular workflow is that the authorize step in the workflow is configured with a service management approval step. This means that customers as well as Jira users can be made approvers of a change. And so people external to your Jira instance or Jira Service Management instance can actually be the approvers of a change. And then changes can be managed in a queue and reported in Jira dashboards. These workflows are completely configurable, so you can change them, you can customize them, you can create your own from scratch. And so each request type within Jira Service Management can be associated with a completely different workflow. But just a bit about how a change can work within the actual service management portal. When you go to Jira Service Management as a customer, you'll be presented with a screen that looks a bit like this. This screen here is your entry point, and so I can click on changes. And as a customer, I can request a change, and I'll call it webinar change. And you can put in some more details here. Descriptions, etc. And in this case, we'll say that the Opta service is going to be affected. The change type, we can make it an emergency change. It could be standard or normal. The impact could be minor all the way through to extensive. We'll just make it moderate. And then a medium urgency. And then the risk for the change is medium again. And the reason is just a repair. With all requests, you can associate them with additional documents, and this is where you can browse for documents here and attach them to the requests. And there's fields here, dedicated fields for an implementation plan, a backup plan, and a test plan here. And importantly, in this particular type, if you put in a planned start and end date, so I'm going to put something in on the 29th of June, starting at 8 o'clock AM, and completing on the 29th of June, but I will complete that at midday. And then I will send that to the service management layer. And then that has created effectively a request, a change request within the Jira Service Management, and it has an ID, SID 22. So whilst I'm here, the customer can still see all the fields that they submitted. The request portal allows them to see all their previous requests as well as their approvals. So if I go through to the created by me screen here, I can see all the requests that I've submitted for the demo today. And you can see the webinar change at the top here. I can click back to that. So as the actual agent at the back end, so what right now I'm showing you the view as the customer. I'm now going to change myself into the role of the agent at what you could describe as the back end of Jira. So I shall just go back to Jira here and I will navigate to that particular request. I'll go SID 22, search box up here, and I can find the webinar change, move to it. It needs an approver, so I'm going to make myself the approver. Just for demonstration purposes, I'm the approver, I'm the agent at the back end as well as the customer. In the real world, the scenario would be quite different. There would most likely be 3 completely different people, potentially in different teams, or different organizations even. And so I've made myself the approver here so that when I go through the workflow, so this button here will allow me to navigate the workflow here, and I can go to the ready for approval stage, which you can see, which will take me to, I think, the authorized stage here. So, and then when I go to authorize and refresh, I can see I now have an approve button, but as the customer, because I am the same person, when I refresh the request as the customer, I will be able to approve externally from the service management layer. So the actual approver can be different to the customer. So the approver should receive a notification they need to approve it. They can go to the request here, they can then approve it. So that could be somebody in senior management that has nothing at all to do with Jira usage. And they would also not consume a license doing that, because all customers of the portal here do not use a license, whereas a user within Jira Service Management here is a licensed user, and then that would be charged from in a cloud plan, might be typically charged monthly. It can be annual as well, but here it would be free. So I'm going to approve it as the customer, and then that's now actually moved it to the awaiting implementation stage. Then I can be implementing the change, and then I can complete the change. And when it's finally completed, it asks for a resolution, and I'm just going to set that to done. Going back to the change calendar here, if I might navigate to next week, the change I put in there, you can see that is planned on Tuesday morning, on the 29th of June. So that's now arrived in the calendar. And it's also telling me that there is an openings against the Optus system. So that's why it's got the exclamation mark there. Moving on to incident management, it's a bit more the same, really. So you can raise incidents inside the portal here. So you can report a system problem here. Again, you fill in the fields and you can submit that, and that goes into the incident queue. You can also raise requests, and so the requests can be all sorts of different types. Get IT help, set VPN to the office, etc. So going back to incident management, like everything within Jira Service Management would enter in as what's known as an issue or a ticket, go through its individual workflows. For example, here you can see this particular workflow diagram for incidents is quite different to the change one. And again, they can be reported on dashboards. And same for the request management side of things. But request management in JSM, they're typically more generic requests like questions or support requests, or in this case, they want to request a new account. These types of requests are often used for other features like integrating with email or what's known as the Jira Service Management widget, which I'll be discussing later on as well. And back in the customer-facing portal here, the requests, if I get IT help, you can see it has a much smaller set of fields to populate. It's really just a summary and description. So all of these screens can be configured to be completely different to the other ones. They can have a completely different set of fields and required fields, a different workflow behind them, and different sets of users or agents managing them as well at the back end. So moving on to best practices and tips to bring team agility and collaboration into ITSM. So here are some key recommendations that Jira Service Management customers can look at adopting that could enhance their user experience and productivity. So we've already been looking at this, but it's a very key recommendation to actually use the customer portal, because quite a few people that buy service management actually start in the Jira layer here, looking at queues and all open tickets and actually raising them within Jira itself, because all of the issues that I was able to, or items of work or requests that I was able to raise through the customer portal can actually be done at the back end of Jira as well, within inside Jira. So for example, I'm requesting a change within Jira and the same fields are available in terms of the urgency and the planned start and index. However, the customer-facing portal allows you to extend usage to many, many people because they're not licensed and they can be anywhere on the internet, especially with a cloud solution. If you give them access to your portal, you can interact with a much wider base of customers. So it's a great way to interact with large bases of customers, and customers can even self-register themselves against the portal if they're permissioned to do so, and they can start raising requests. A good use case for that is that many Atlassian marketplace application vendors use this approach to interact with their own customers. So if you do buy Atlassian tools and you want to get support for other marketplace apps, you might end up going through a Jira Service Management portal to ask for support for. A bit more about the users themselves. So another recommendation is to try to optimize the usage of customers, Jira users, and Jira Service Management users. As I mentioned before, customers do not consume a license, so they're free, and so you can have as many as you like. And so if you're able to work with a greater number of customers and less Jira users, then you can save on license costs. Jira users would typically work on the Jira software layer or work management. They will have visibility into the service management projects, but they will be unable to move any items through the workflow or change any field values. Whereas a service management agent can do all the work within a service management Jira project. So if Jira is integrated with Jira software and Jira service management, the actual project will determine who can do certain work tasks depending on their level of access, because service management agents are licensed separately to Jira software users. So just a note at the bottom there saying optimizing the user access in each area to the correct individuals can enhance the user experience whilst keeping license costs to a minimum. And then another key area is setting up a knowledge base which is linked to the Jira Service Management project. So that's Confluence, and this is where Confluence integration comes in with Jira Service Management. So if you subscribe to that product, you can then start building a documentation space, which is searchable knowledge base, which allows your customers to read self-help articles. Then one of the primary drivers of that is that they can then provide themselves the help, and it should help to reduce the number of requests that customers are going to raise against your agents. It should reduce the workload on your agents, and customers would find the information they need faster. So it's a great place to store FAQs, how to do and troubleshooting articles, and other helpful info that your team and customers may need to reference. So if I go to Confluence itself, this incident management page is directly in Confluence here. But if I go to the customer-facing portal here and look at the incident, and I want to report the incident, as I start to type in the incident, it's now suggesting I look at a request management article here. It should be, whereas I think if I go to a change here, start to type in new change or something like that, it's actually suggesting a change management article here. So it can be configured to look for the relevant articles that are associated with that request type. So I can then click through to the change management article and read that. This particular one is just some information I've obtained from an Atlassian documentation page. But hopefully you get the idea that you can build as many of these articles as you like to help serve your customers the information they need. Considering integrating with email requests, so you can actually have a dedicated email account linked to your Jira Service Management project, which then if people send emails to that email address, the emails will automatically get converted to a service request within Jira Service Management, and then they would appear in the queues. And so if your customers prefer to raise requests and accompany the email box, you can set up an email address to receive requests in your service project. Email requests are added to your queues so your team can focus on customers without missing requests in multiple inboxes, etc. And also, this is often a great migration tool to help your organization move to an ITSM solution with Jira Service Management, because people can still use the email processes that they're used to, but they would actually start interacting with your service management layer by doing so. Another powerful and popular feature, you can actually embed what's known as the service management widget into your website. So this screenshot here is an example of what one can look like. And it's a mini version of one of these requests here. And so it would typically be a standard service request that it would be linked to. But this is a great way to guide your customers to the Jira Service Management portal without having to explicitly direct them there. So they can even search the Confluence knowledge base through this. So they can actually type in into the help box, and they would get the same article or articles that I just showed you here inside the service management widget. And that service management widget can be embedded in as many web pages as you like within your existing website. So if you have a customer-facing website already, this can be added to that, and you don't have to go through a significant migration project to try and get your customers onto the service management layer, you can get them to work with you through this. And again, actually, a lot of marketplace app vendors is a good use case. Again, Atlassian marketplace app vendors use this a lot to interact with their customers here. Also, you can collect customer satisfaction feedback in Jira Service Management. So you want to know how your team is doing, you can send customers a quick survey when a request is resolved, then track their ratings and comments in the customer satisfaction report. And so this is an example screenshot of what one of those reports can look like. So yeah, typically when a service request is completed, a customer would get a final email asking them to submit their customer feedback. And then service level agreements. So it's good to make use of these Jira Service Management service level agreements, SLAs, to suit your organizational needs. With Jira Service Management, you can keep your team on track by setting goals for how quickly you manage customer issues. If these goals are set by your customer contracts, you might know them as a service level agreement or SLA. SLAs track the progress of things like, I need a response within 2 hours. So within the Jira Service Management project that I'm doing here, there are actually some service level agreements set up. And I'll just show you what they look like in the configuration screen under SLAs here. So for example, this one here, time to resolution. So the incidents have to be resolved within 4 hours. Here, you can see the logic before here, based on a 9 to 5 calendar, just for incidents. Service requests have to be resolved within 8 hours, and there's actually no SLA target for the other remaining request types. Whereas time to first response has different rules associated with it. Incidents have to be responded to within 2 hours, and service requests within 4 hours. So then if I go back, and just before I go back to the queues, there are many, many different types of SLAs that you can set up. These are just some basic examples. So for example, here you've got time to close after resolution and time to review a normal change. So this is the change type, and it's you need to review a change within 40 hours. Whereas you go back to the actual queues, and if we look at the incidents and the open incidents, the incident I put in earlier has been running for 3 hours, whereas these other incidents are, the time to resolution is now missed by 9 hours and 13 minutes and 4 hours and 5 minutes. And so it works on a timer. The timing on the SLAs can be configured so that if it's waiting on the customer for information, the SLA stops counting time. Other areas like weekends can be discounted from the timings as well. Another powerful feature is try using Jira dashboards to report Jira Service Management data. And if I go to Jira itself, you can set up, this is core Jira, so it's not actual Jira Service Management, but the data is available for reporting. So you can start to set up dashboards that look a bit like this. So there's issue statistics based on the percentages of the request types, a pie chart showing you pie chart of priorities, where the SLAs have been breached, a two-dimensional array of data based on priority and assignee, and then requests which have been created versus resolved here, and then other data items here you can list the individual. So you can see there's no limit to the number of these that you can create. So a bit more about extending out-the-box functionality. So this is a bit more sort of advanced features. These are just a very small sample of use cases that can be used in organizations. Jira Service Management can be used in so many different ways by so many different organizations. So this is just a real smaller example, but if you integrate with Opsgenie, you can introduce the following into your ecosystem. Enhanced alerting, we've already discussed that, but with Opsgenie, you can do more on-call management and escalations, more advanced reporting and analytics, more enhanced incident management and post-incident analysis. A bit more about what I mentioned earlier. In this example, an amendment required allows the customer to ask for more information and actually move it through its workflow. So this is a smart way to interact with your customers and actually give up some of the workflow functionality of your Jira Service Management without them having to consume a license, but that they can also interact with you in a more productive way. It can enhance their experience as well. And so designing functionality like this can reduce the number of license users whilst improving the customer experience. And I'll just quickly demonstrate this small feature here. It's about traceability all the way through. So there's another request called feature request, which I'll move to in the portal here. Under further extensions, I can raise a feature request here. And I'll put in a new feature. I will add myself as the approver. Some details for this feature, and then assign it some components like BAU and support. If I send that to the service management layer, this can then actually be approved or go through an approval process. So I'll just navigate to SID 23 that was just raised here, the new feature. I can move it through the approval process. Someone else might approve it within the organization, but now something else will happen. It's now approved, and then when I refresh the issue here, it's now created through what's known as automation for Jira, which is some more advanced features which come out of the box. It's automatically created an epic inside the Scrum project with SCSP here, saying it's been approved by this original service request or feature request, which came into the service management layer. If I click through to it, you'll see that it leaves a link. It has a link now, which is approved by the new feature request, which went into the service management layer. And then this would be worked on, and you can add stories to it, and it would be worked on probably on a Scrum or Kanban board. And if there were DevOps processes linked to this, you would see the full traceability from the original request that went into the ITSM layer. Then that would have originated this feature change with epics and then related stories, code deployments associated with it, and you'd see all of that end-to-end flow from where the customer raised it all the way through to where the individual code is deployed. And then a bit more about the premium plan. So you can get standard plan, but with the premium one, you get access to more automation, management scale, better support model. But more importantly, there is a product called Insight, which was recently bought by Atlassian, and a bit more about asset management with Insight. It was acquired by, it was a product separate marketplace app by a company called Mindville, and it's a CMDB product called Insight. It's now allows you to do asset management and configuration management within Jira Service Management. It's proving to be very popular and quite a powerful tool, and this can further enhance your ITSM capabilities in these areas even more. And it means that you wouldn't necessarily need to buy a separate CMDB software layer that might not be integrated with Atlassian. So finally, on to some conclusions. Jira Service Management is powerful when used on its own, but with additional integrations can create powerful end-to-end ecosystem for your organization. Using these integrations and following the best practices can greatly enhance user experience and productivity. Jira Service Management can be configured and customized to suit specific needs and scenarios. With assistance from specialist solution partners like Spectrum, this journey can be greatly enhanced and accelerated. So where next? I suggest, obviously, if you're interested, then set up an evaluation of service management. Investigate how the other integrations with Atlassian products could work for you. Look in the marketplace app, like the Atlassian marketplace for apps, because there are many Jira Service Management focused apps as well as there are for Jira software. And you can ask for solution partner assistance, which might help accelerate your migration to a layer like this. And then finally, there are many Atlassian documentation pages. There are ITSM Jira Service Management champions at your organization, maybe, but you can find lots of answers on the Atlassian community and Stack Overflow. And so finally, I will hand over to Kevin to host a question and answer session.
Thank you very much, David. Very informative and helpful. I'm just struggling to enable my video at the moment. I don't know whether Riz can do that. But in the meantime, just a quick intro on me. I'm the head of Atlassian Services for our UK region. Okay, so we have about 10 minutes left for a question and answer session. So if anybody does have a question, you just need to select the raise hand button on your Zoom panel and we'll enable your microphone. So over to you guys.
Kevin, I see a question from Fahad.
Yes, I can see that. Dave, can you see that? Hi, Dave.
Yes, we have enabled Fahad's microphone. If you would like to ask a question, Fahad.
Hello.
Hi.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you fine, Fahad. Carry on.
Yeah, thanks for the presentation. I have a few questions, if you allow me. The first is, I want to know on how many ITL process your ITSM Jira is approved. Hello.
Yes, so your question was how many ITIL processes is the JSM platform approved on?
Right.
Out of the box, I can answer this question for you. Out of the box, Jira Service Management includes the 5 main ITIL processes. I'll just get David to elaborate on that.
Hi. Yes, can you all hear me, by the way?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, sorry about that. Yes, so yes, it's fully ITIL compliant, so it follows all of the core principles of ITIL, and Atlassian have gone to great lengths to facilitate that and also keep up with the new standards that are being released. Yeah, so pretty much all of the processes are facilitated or can be facilitated. It's really up to you which parts of it you really want to focus on.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Questions, Fahad?
Sorry, Fahad, you had 1 or 2 more questions for us?
Yes, I just want to know about automation. If you can little elaborate more related to, for example, if I want to automate a approval mechanism, or I want to automate that specific information from Active Directory should be available when user is raising or customer is raising a ticket.
Yes. Okay. So yeah, automation for Jira is a very powerful feature. It was originally a separate marketplace app, which Atlassian purchased. So it's actually available within core Jira software, work management, and Jira service management. So they purchased it, integrated it with all the Jira products. When you get the premium plan of all those products, you get unlimited usage of what they call global rules, which can apply across all your Jira projects. And then when you're inside a Jira project, you should see an automation tab in the configuration of your project settings. And also there's an automation tab under Jira's system administration area. And in there, you can set up many different automation rules. And the advantage of that product over something like Script Runner by Adaptivist is that you can do a lot of sophisticated automation without having to write scripts. And in your case in point, you could configure it to automatically assign approvers at certain stages of a workflow. You could get it to automatically approve under certain scenarios as well. There's all sorts of other automations. You can get it to automatically move your issues through parts of the workflow, update fields according to certain scenarios. I showed you a very small part of it there where once it hit a stage of the workflow right at the end, it automatically created another issue in another project and left a link behind automatically. Common use cases are things like inside epics. If you close the epic, it will close all the related issues, or the other way around. If all subtasks within a Jira issue are completed, it will move the parent to the completed resolution in Jira as well. So so in answer really at a high level, whatever automation you would be interested in, and there are many use cases, it would go a long way to meeting those once you get very familiar with that tool.
Okay. Dave, I have a couple of questions that's coming in. One of them is from Saif. He wants to know, just a second here. Okay. Can we add any Jira custom fields to a GSM request and make it available on the customer forms?
Yes, just about any custom field, I think, can be added. So the way that works is to add a field to a customer form, it has to be present and configured on Jira's screen, the read, I think the create and read screen. Once that's done, it can then be made available on the service management form. You can also hide the field, but set a default value so that when you actually create the requests within service management, you can actually get it to pre-populate a bunch of fields as well. You can also make some of them required. And the advantage of that is that doesn't interfere with the field configuration scheme inside Jira itself. So you can make them required in the portal, but they wouldn't necessarily be required at the back end. And yeah, but in answer to your question, you can pretty much make all those fields available.
Okay, thank you, David. Any more questions to our audience?
Yes, we have another question on the chat. If moving from ServiceNow is possible to Jira Service Management?
Yes,
I believe ITSM tool ServiceNow. He means by this ITSM tool ServiceNow.
So to migrate from ServiceNow to Jira Service Management, is that what the question is?
Yes, it looks like that. Yes,
okay.
The migration from ServiceNow to Jira Service Management. I'm not sure if it is cloud or in the data center. Let's assume it's cloud. I mean, how easy it is to migrate from ServiceNow to Jira?
I think there are some well-trodden paths in that area. It's certainly feasible. There are ways to obviously, I think I'm pretty sure there's ways to extract all the data from ServiceNow, and there are ways to bulk upload your data manually into the service management layer through CSV uploads and things like that. But also, I think there are connectors in the marketplace between them. So I think it's feasible to even have Jira software connected to ServiceNow, or even I've not actually tried that particular scenario with that product, but if you were to look in the marketplace, there's probably a connector there, I think, as well. And it's the sort of a migration project like that, I would suggest maybe looking to get some professional help from someone like Spectrum as a solution partner as well, because that kind of migration would be quite involved and probably quite complex. It depends how big the ServiceNow is and how complex the current usage of it is, but it's definitely achievable.
Okay, thanks, Dave. A question's just come in from SafeAct. Is it possible to create grouped approval in JSM?
So everyone in a group has to approve?
Yeah, I guess so, or a subset of that group.
Yeah, so you can set up an approval field, a user approval field with multiple approvers. And so you can configure the approval step in the service management workflow to have multiple approvers. And you can say, you can even say that only 2 out of the 5 need to approve. So you can say, I can have 5 approvers, but only 2 of them actually, and then that's considered to be approved. So you can take those sort of approaches as well. Yeah, as well as doing the single user approval. And the multiple user approval field can be made available to the front end customer portal as well. So those approvers could be external to your service management layer.
Sure, makes sense. Thank you. So do we have any more questions for David? Just mindful that we're 2 minutes over the official end time for the webinar. I mean, if we're done with questions, Carl, do you just want to close off the session?
Yes. Again, thank you everybody for your time. We do appreciate it. If there are any further queries or concerns, or if you do require any Atlassian assistance moving forward, we would ask that you contact Spectrum directly. Our contact details can be found on LinkedIn as well as our website. Thanks again for your time, guys.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
I see Fahad has his hand up. Let's see if we can answer his question for him, please.
Hello, Fahad. I think I just clicked the unmute button for you.
Yeah, hi David.
Hi.
One more question. I just need to understand the limit of customers you have in JSM portal.
I don't think there is one. So it's you could have a hypothetical scenario where you have maybe 2 service desk agents dealing with 1,000 customers. You could actually do that if you wanted to.
Okay.
So and also customers don't use a license, and they can be located anywhere if you're on the cloud. So this is where this is kind of one of the most powerful aspects of being able to use this, is that you can have a very small number of licensed users interacting with a very large number of customers.
Okay, thank you.
Is that okay?
Yeah, I got it.
Great. I think that has come to the end of our presentation. Unless there are any further queries, I think we will be closing off the webinar.
Okay. Thanks, everybody.